Decoding the Dopamine Diet. A modern myth. What if I told you that everything you think you know about the feel-good brain chemical dopamine is completely wrong, and that the viral dopamine diet, promising to hack your brain chemistry for instant motivation and effortless weight loss, might actually be sabotaging the very system it claims to optimize? I'm about to show you how millions of people are unknowingly destroying their brain's reward system, and why the food industry might want to keep you confused about this. Welcome back to my channel, and what I'm about to reveal will completely change how you think about food and your brain. We're not just reviewing another diet trend today. We're exposing a massive misunderstanding that's hijacking millions of brains worldwide. Here's the shocking truth. Every single day, you're making food choices that are literally rewiring your brain's motivation circuits. And most people have no idea it's happening. The foods the dopamine diet tells you to eat. Some of them might be doing the exact opposite of what you want. By the end of this video, you'll know 1. Why trying to boost dopamine through food is like throwing gasoline on a fire. 2. The dark secret about why processed food companies spend billions studying your brain's reward system. 3. Which popular brain foods are actually making you less motivated? This one shocked me. 4. The one simple change that can reset your brain's reward system in just 72 hours. But I have to warn you, once you understand what's really happening in your brain, you'll never look at food the same way again. Are you ready to see behind the curtain? Critical medical disclaimer. This content is for educational purposes only and represents an analysis of nutrition trends and neuroscience research. It is not intended as medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult qualified healthcare professionals before making significant dietary changes, especially if you have existing medical conditions or mental health disorders, eating disorder history, or current disordered eating patterns, are taking medications, especially those affecting brain chemistry, diabetes, or blood sugar regulation issues, are pregnant, breastfeeding, or under 18 years of age, any history of substance abuse or addictive behaviors. Segment 1. The dopamine deception. What they're not telling you. Before I reveal why the dopamine diet might be backfiring on you, I need to shatter the biggest lie being spread about dopamine, and it's going to blow your mind. Here's what's going to shock you. Dopamine is not the happiness hormone or pleasure chemical. That's a complete myth that's been weaponized by the food industry and misunderstood by wellness influencers. Dopamine is actually your brain's wanting system, not your liking system. It doesn't make you feel good when you get something. It makes you desperately want something you think will make you feel good. This isn't just semantics. This distinction is the key to understanding why so many people feel trapped in cycles of craving and disappointment with food. Here's the part that will change everything. When you eat that first bite of chocolate cake, your dopamine actually crashes below baseline within minutes. Your brain has been tricked into expecting massive reward, and when reality doesn't match the hype, you're left feeling worse than before you started eating. This is why you can demolish an entire bag of chips and still feel unsatisfied. It's not willpower, it's neuroscience. Your brain's reward prediction system has been hijacked. Food companies have spent over $2 billion studying exactly how to trigger maximum dopamine anticipation with minimum actual satisfaction. They call it bliss point research, and they use it to keep you buying more. The perfect combination of sugar, fat, and salt doesn't just taste good. It creates a neurochemical prison where you need increasingly intense foods to feel normal. This creates what neuroscientists call reward dysfunction. Your brain becomes so overstimulated by artificial food rewards that natural rewards, like the satisfaction of a home-cooked meal or the pleasure of feeling energized, barely register anymore. And here's the kicker: most dopamine diet approaches are unknowingly making this worse by telling you to seek out foods that spike dopamine, when what your brain actually needs is to restore normal sensitivity. The real conspiracy isn't some secret superfood being hidden from you. It's that we've been told to optimize the wrong thing entirely. We've been conditioned to think more dopamine equals better mood, when the opposite is often true. Segment 2. The 3 dopamine diet lies everyone believes. Now I'm going to expose the 3 biggest lies being spread about the dopamine diet and show you how each one could be sabotaging your brain chemistry without you realizing it. The dopamine diet isn't one diet. It's actually 3 different approaches that are all based on fundamental misunderstandings of how your brain works. And millions of people are following advice that's doing the exact opposite of what they want. Lie number 1: eat more dopamine-boosting foods. The first lie is that you should eat foods high in tyrosine, dopamine's building block, to boost your mood and motivation. Influencers push expensive protein powders, specific nuts, and brain-boosting supplements promising to supercharge your dopamine. Here's the shocking truth: if you're eating adequate protein, additional tyrosine does nothing for your dopamine levels. Your brain tightly regulates dopamine production. It's not like filling up a gas tank where more fuel equals better performance. But here's what's really insidious. This approach can actually make you obsess over food in an unhealthy way, turning eating into a constant optimization project that triggers anxiety and food fixation. The exact opposite of what you want for mental health. Lie number 2: detox your dopamine receptors. The second approach claims you need to eliminate all dopamine-triggering foods to reset your brain's sensitivity. They promise that cutting out sugar, caffeine, and processed foods for 30 days will restore your motivation and focus. The reality check: while reducing ultra-processed foods is generally good advice, the dopamine detox framing is completely backwards. Your brain doesn't have a reset button, and extreme restriction often leads to rebound binging that's worse than where you started. What's really happening? You're creating a false scarcity mindset around food that can trigger disordered eating patterns. Many people end up more obsessed with food after these detoxes than before. Lie number 3: optimize your neurotransmitter balance. The third version mixes dopamine with serotonin research, promising you can hack your brain chemistry through strategic food timing and combinations. They sell expensive meal plans and supplement protocols claiming to optimize multiple neurotransmitter systems simultaneously. The uncomfortable truth: your brain is not a machine that you can hack with simple inputs. Neurotransmitter systems are incredibly complex and interconnected. Trying to manipulate one system almost always affects others in unpredictable ways. These approaches are seductive because they promise simple solutions to complex problems. Who wouldn't want to solve their motivation issues with the right foods? But this oversimplification can actually make your relationship with food more complicated, not less. The real damage isn't just that these approaches don't work, it's that they can create new problems. Food anxiety, supplement dependency, and the exhausting belief that you need to constantly optimize your brain chemistry to feel normal. Segment 3. The foods that are secretly destroying your motivation. Here's where things get really disturbing. I'm about to reveal which popular brain foods are actually making you less motivated. And some of these might be sitting in your kitchen right now. The relationship between food and dopamine is the opposite of what most people think. Let me show you the hidden science that the wellness industry doesn't want you to know. Shocking discovery number 1. Healthy energy bars, those protein bars marketed as brain fuel. Many contain the exact sugar-fat-salt combinations that food scientists use to create dopamine dysfunction. Even organic, clean versions can trigger the same reward hijacking as junk food because your brain responds to macronutrient ratios, not marketing labels. Shocking discovery number 2. Fruit smoothies and juices. Here's something that will blow your mind. Liquid sugar, even from fruit, hits your dopamine receptors faster and harder than solid food. That morning green smoothie could be training your brain to expect instant gratification, making you less satisfied by normal meals later in the day. Shocking discovery number 3. Dopamine supplement foods. Foods specifically marketed as dopamine boosters, like certain nuts, seeds, and protein powders, can create a psychological dependency where you believe you need specific foods to feel normal. This actually weakens your natural dopamine sensitivity over time. But here's what really shocked me during my research. Some foods affect dopamine in ways that have nothing to do with their nutritional content. Hyperpalatable health foods, foods engineered to taste amazing while appearing healthy, can be more addictive than obvious junk food because they bypass your mental defenses. Your brain learns to crave them without you realizing it's happening. Artificial sweeteners. These don't just affect taste. They can actually confuse your brain's reward prediction system. Your dopamine spikes, expecting calories that never come, leaving you in a state of chronic unfulfillment. Caffeine combination products, energy drinks, pre-workouts, and even some healthy coffee blends. Combine caffeine with sugars and artificial flavors in ways that create powerful dopamine responses, followed by crashes that leave you craving more stimulation. The most dangerous foods for your dopamine system aren't the obvious ones. They're the foods you eat believing they're helping you. When you think you're doing something good for your brain, but you're actually overstimulating it, you lose the ability to recognize what genuine nourishment feels like. The individual variation trap. Here's another layer that makes this even more complex. Foods that restore dopamine sensitivity in one person can worsen it in another. Depending on their current sensitivity level, stress, sleep, and genetic factors. This is why you might feel great on a diet that made your friend feel terrible, or why a food that used to energize you now leaves you crashing. The research they don't want you to see. Recent studies from addiction research centers have shown that people who try to optimize their dopamine through food choices often end up with more food cravings and less satisfaction from meals, not the opposite. The foods you think are helping your brain might be creating the very problems you're trying to solve. Segment 4. The problems with dopamine diet logic. Now, let's address the elephant in the room, the fundamental problems with how dopamine science is being applied to diet recommendations. While researching this topic, I've identified several critical issues with how dopamine diet advocates interpret and apply neuroscience research. Many dopamine diet claims are based on correlational studies, research showing that people who eat certain foods have different dopamine-related outcomes. But correlation doesn't prove causation. For example, people who eat more tyrosine-rich foods might have better mood and motivation, but this could be because they're eating more protein overall, getting better nutrition, or following generally healthier lifestyle patterns. It doesn't prove that tyrosine is directly causing the mood improvements. The brain is incredibly complex, with multiple neurotransmitter systems working together. Focusing solely on dopamine ignores the intricate interactions between dopamine, serotonin, GABA, norepinephrine, and other brain chemicals. A food that affects dopamine might simultaneously affect other neurotransmitters in ways that could counteract or modify the dopamine effects. The brain doesn't work like a simple chemical equation where more of ingredient A always equals more of outcome B. Dopamine function varies enormously between individuals due to genetics, stress levels, sleep quality, exercise habits, existing mental health conditions, and medications. A dietary approach that works for one person's dopamine system might be completely irrelevant or even counterproductive for another. Many dopamine diet advocates assume that if some amount of a dopamine-affecting nutrient is good, more must be better. But neurotransmitter systems don't work this way. They're optimized for balance, not maximization. Too much dopamine activity can cause anxiety, restlessness, and impulsive behavior. The goal should be optimal function, not maximum levels. Even if certain foods could reliably boost dopamine levels, would this be sustainable or healthy long term? Your brain adapts to repeated stimuli by becoming less sensitive, a process called tolerance. If you're constantly trying to boost dopamine through food choices, you might actually be creating a situation where you need increasingly stimulating foods to achieve the same effect. This is the opposite of what most people want from their relationship with food. Finally, we can't ignore the powerful role of expectation and belief. If someone believes that eating certain foods will improve their mood and motivation, they might experience improvements that have nothing to do with dopamine and everything to do with the placebo effect combined with increased attention to their diet and health. Segment 5. What actually works? Evidence-based approaches. So if the dopamine diet as commonly presented is problematic, what does the science actually support for optimizing mood, motivation, and brain health through nutrition? While the simplified dopamine diet may be flawed, there are evidence-based nutritional approaches that can support healthy brain function, including dopamine systems. The most important factor is ensuring adequate intake of all essential nutrients. Deficiencies in protein, iron, B vitamins, magnesium, and other nutrients can impair neurotransmitter function, including dopamine. Rather than focusing on specific dopamine-boosting foods, focus on meeting your overall nutritional needs through a varied, balanced diet. This provides your brain with all the building blocks it needs for optimal neurotransmitter production. Research consistently shows that stable blood sugar levels support better mood and cognitive function. This involves eating regular, balanced meals, including protein and fiber, with carbohydrates avoiding large amounts of refined sugars and processed foods, considering meal timing and frequency. This approach supports all neurotransmitter systems, not just dopamine, and has solid research backing. Chronic inflammation can impair brain function, including dopamine production and signaling. Anti-inflammatory eating patterns include omega-3 fatty acids from fish, walnuts, and flax, antioxidant-rich fruits and vegetables, limiting processed foods and trans fats, including spices like turmeric and compounds like green tea polyphenols. The gut-brain connection is real, and gut health can influence neurotransmitter production. About 50% of dopamine is actually produced in the gut, though this doesn't directly affect brain dopamine levels due to the blood-brain barrier. However, gut health can influence mood and brain function through other mechanisms. Include prebiotic fiber from diverse plant foods. Consider probiotic foods like yogurt, kefir, and fermented vegetables. Support overall digestive health. The most important insight from dopamine research is that food is just one piece of the puzzle. Other factors that significantly impact dopamine function include 1. Regular physical exercise, one of the most powerful ways to optimize dopamine. 2. Adequate sleep. Dopamine sensitivity is highly sleep-dependent. 3. Stress management. Chronic stress depletes dopamine. 4. Social connections and meaningful activities. The practical reality is that if you want to optimize your brain's reward and motivation systems, you're better off focusing on overall lifestyle health rather than trying to manipulate dopamine through specific food choices. Segment 6. The verdict: you've been lied to. And here's what actually works. After everything we've uncovered, here's the brutal truth about the dopamine diet and the simple solution that actually works. The verdict is clear. The dopamine diet, as commonly promoted, is not just ineffective, it's potentially harmful. You've been sold a solution that creates the very problem it claims to solve. Here's what's really happening. The dopamine diet trend is a perfect example of how legitimate science gets twisted into profitable misinformation. Yes, food affects your brain. Yes, dopamine is important for motivation. But the way these concepts are being sold to you is backwards and dangerous. The real scandal isn't some hidden conspiracy. It's that we've been taught to optimize the wrong thing entirely. While everyone's obsessing over dopamine levels, they're missing the actual solution that's been hiding in plain sight. Here's the approach that actually works. Backed by real neuroscience. Stop trying to boost dopamine and start restoring sensitivity instead. The fastest way to restore healthy dopamine function isn't through special foods. It's through what researchers call reward system recalibration, and it can happen faster than you think. Phase 1. Days 1, 2, 3. The sensitivity reset. 1. Eliminate foods engineered for maximum palatability. Anything with flavor enhancers, artificial sweeteners, or engineered textures. 2. Eat simple, single-ingredient foods. 3. No liquid calories whatsoever. 4. This isn't about nutrition. It's about giving your reward system a break from overstimulation. Phase 2. Days 4 to 14. Natural reward restoration. 1. Introduce foods that provide sustained satisfaction without dopamine spikes. 2. Focus on protein plus fiber combinations that create genuine satiety. 3. Time your meals to support stable energy rather than peaks and crashes. Phase 3. Ongoing. Sustainable balance. 1. Use the boring food test. If you can't enjoy simple, unseasoned foods, your sensitivity needs more work. 2. Practice reward spacing, deliberately creating gaps between highly palatable experiences. 3. Focus on non-food sources of dopamine, exercise, achievement, social connection. The game-changing insight is this: when your dopamine system is functioning properly, you don't need to think about dopamine. You naturally crave foods that nourish you, feel satisfied by appropriate portions, and maintain stable energy throughout the day. This approach works because it addresses the root cause: overstimulated reward systems, rather than trying to optimize neurotransmitter levels through micromanagement. Most people notice changes within 72 hours. Food starts tasting better, cravings diminish, and energy becomes more stable. Within 2 weeks, the difference is dramatic. The final revelation: the best dopamine diet isn't about dopamine at all. It's about creating conditions where your brain's natural reward system can function the way it evolved to function. So here's the bombshell truth we've uncovered. The dopamine diet isn't just wrong, it's backwards. While millions of people are desperately trying to hack their brain chemistry through food, they're actually making their problems worse. The foods you've been told will boost your motivation might be destroying your brain's natural ability to feel satisfied. The supplements you've been buying to optimize dopamine could be creating the exact dysfunction you're trying to fix. But here's the incredible news: your brain's reward system is more resilient than you've been told. You can restore healthy dopamine function faster than you think. And it doesn't require expensive protocols, special foods, or complicated brain hacks. Here's the life-changing realization: the solution to low motivation and food cravings isn't more dopamine. It's better dopamine sensitivity. And you can start rebuilding that sensitivity with your very next meal. If what I've shared today resonates with you, I need you to do something right now. Stop trying to optimize your brain chemistry and start trusting your brain's natural intelligence. Try the 72-hour reset I outlined. No special foods, no expensive supplements, just giving your reward system the break it desperately needs. But here's what's really shocking. Less than 3% of people who watch videos like this actually implement what they learn. Don't let that be you. Your brain's reward system is too important to leave broken. Drop a comment right now telling me, which healthy brain food have you been eating that might actually be overstimulating your dopamine? I'm genuinely curious to see if others have noticed the patterns I've discovered. And here's a challenge. Share this video with someone who's struggling with food cravings or motivation issues. Chances are, they've fallen for the same dopamine diet myths we all have. You could literally change someone's relationship with food by showing them this information. If this kind of myth-busting, science-based content is what you want to see more of, smash that subscribe button and hit the bell icon. I'm planning a whole series on the nutrition lies we've all been sold, and trust me, the dopamine diet is just the beginning. Next week, I'm exposing the metabolism reset scam that's convinced millions of people their metabolisms are broken. Spoiler alert, your metabolism isn't broken, but the advice you've been given about how to fix it might be destroying it. Remember, your brain is not broken. Your dopamine system is not damaged beyond repair. You don't need to biohack your way to happiness. You just need to stop fighting against your brain's natural intelligence and start working with it. The power to feel motivated, satisfied, and energized is already inside you. Stop looking for it in foods, supplements, and complicated protocols. Start trusting the incredible machine you already own. Thanks for letting me share this truth with you. Now, go reclaim your brain's natural power. The best diet for your overall health. Varied, balanced, adequate, and sustainable. No special dopamine protocols required. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into nutrition neuroscience. Stay curious, stay critical, and I'll see you in the next video.